Fed Day warriors. Everyone waiting. Waiting is the hardest part. How's everyone doing today? AJ, Richard, who else is around here? Michael Bergman, Patrick, Sinatra, Alexander, team. Dollar a little weaker today.
Morning, Dale.
Hey, how are you, Ryan? So we're almost, hey, Kay. So not too far from the high of the move. Are we there on cable? Not yet. What was this high?
Not quite. Stopping at a half mark again.
Yeah, 2680, call it. Okay. Yen down. It looked like a breakout yesterday. A little shorter time frame. See that? So I don't know if I could trust this line or not. I think you probably,
perhaps not before the FOMC, but after.
Yeah, you don't trust. You can't trust your charts on a red event like this, right? So I used to. I don't anymore.
And then if they don't bring a surprise at all over the FOMC, that is keeping their hands still and leaving the door open for anything, then perhaps dollar yen may not be your favorite instrument, but some of the yen crosses. The yen is really is quite a bit weaker through crosses, especially versus stuff like sterling or Canada or even the euro. It's a case of carry trades again and already preparing for the Bank of Japan to hold their hand still. If there's anything special on the FOMC, then you look at this line where it closes above or below, and then you start to look at levels around 139 on the underside, 138.80, and top side probably anywhere above 143 quarters, 141, and then see if we can get to 142 with the surprise to the hawkish side.
Yeah, it's all going to happen. Well, unless he hikes, it's all going to happen in the presser. Yesterday was a good inflation report, right?
Was decent, yeah.
All right. Well, the yields didn't think so. I mean, that was a pretty nice pop in the 10-year.
Bit nasty, right? After the CPI.
Yeah. So I mean, we're really just like the yen was on the verge of a breakout. So too is the 10-year. I mean, we're not that far away, and this formation goes back to the highs, right?
Yeah, but then we've got absolutely no correlation with equities. We did get the correlation in if you want to isolate dollar yen, we did it. But again, I think it's more a cross thing in the yen than a dollar yen as such right now.
Yeah. Also, the yen strength yesterday took the metals down pretty good, but they're up nicely today. So, if there's ever a time for the metals to fly, it would be on, some type of nice sell-off in U.S. dollar yen. So a pretty important day. What are your expectations today? Do you have any?
Well, I think they're just going to keep their hands still. I'm leaving that little 10% open for a surprise on the hikes, but I think 90% is baked in that they will hold their hands still, and then it will be over to Powell. And he's a guy who usually is able to walk the fine line. So I expect the same, but the market is in the mood for selling a few dollars, whatever happens everywhere else. So the surprise trade for me would be a really higher dollar today, but then my expectations are relatively low. I was saying this morning on the Flow Show, I thought CPI would be a big mover yesterday, and the FOMC being less of a mover, and now I'm already looking at the ECB tomorrow for going to be the bigger mover. But it's
and maybe it'll be the BOJ Friday surprising us.
That would be really the surprise.
Right, that's what I mean. That's the one, because you didn't even bring it up. That's
Yeah,
why it would really be a surprise. You brought up, economic number and the ECB, but you didn't even say BOJ. So if there would be a surprise, that would be it.
that would
To
be the
talk,
major surprise. Yeah, if the Bank of Japan
yeah,
would do something, that would be that would
on a,
send the markets in a bit of a tailspin.
yeah. So that's probably the day to watch for, the potential of
Yeah.
risk off. Um, it's pretty interesting with risk. We've had throwovers everywhere. Here's the throwover on NASDAQ. And then yesterday, throwover tested it. You know, just to get back inside the wedge, you need 13.7, which is 1,200 points from here. Yeah. To get back inside the wedge on the S&Ps would only be back under 43.40, but there's, it's been the month for throwovers, parabolic moves. And let's look at what do you think the BOJ thinks about this melt up that we've had in the Nikkei? Because they own the market, don't they?
Well, they've got ETFs and well,
They're
got a
they're cleaning up.
bunch of them. Um, I don't know. I think it's actually a welcome development that the market is having confidence in the Japanese markets. I don't know if Ueda will say something about it, but I do think we're still in this base case, and I'm still in the base case as well, that there is going to be some form of normalization coming up this fiscal year. But so there is this possibility on Friday that they talk about something, but they just in words, not but trying to prepare the market.
Yeah.
But that'll be, I mean, the major Japanese players think that they won't budge before September, October, something.
Okay. So here's your regionals, right? And this caused this was a sell-off into March, and we made a new low, and we're recovering here. Kind of looks incomplete, 1, 2, 3. And even if you look at the XLF with all the fireworks going on in the markets, the banks still are trading lousy. You could say at best they're stabilizing, working off their oversold condition more by moving sideways than having a huge advance. And I'm just looking for the XLF. You'll see that the big guys
You just passed it. It's down.
Oh,
Go
thanks,
down a little
man.
bit. There it is.
A little eagle eye. Thanks. Thank you very much, Stel. So, do they look that much different? And, the only difference was the first drop. The magnitude of the drop was bigger in the regionals, but, that's not exactly bull market action in the beneficiaries of a regional problem and all the money flowing to them now. So, if you were going to look for a fly in the ointment, I do think that our financial system is kind of like the central nervous system for the economy. So this doesn't look great compared to what's happening everywhere else. So, and no one talks about a banking problem anymore. It's like that solved it. And I'm skeptical. So anyway, just wanted to show you guys something that wasn't confirming, the strength and where everyone else is going. Just maybe a quick look at Apple. Apple kind of has like the least amount of momentum. I mean, they're not blowing out RSI divergences. They're not really making anything clean, but the whole ball game still is the 170 level. That's another throwover, right? The month of throwovers. So,
hey, Coach, don't look now, but the German DAX is hitting new highs overnight.
Yeah. I will look though. I saw that yesterday afternoon. I think the DAX has divergences all over the place. Bitcoin up a little bit. Yeah, so DAX is that's a bull case. I heard from people. How can the FTSE and the DAX make? And these are new all-time highs, right?
Yeah, DAX is at all-time highs. FTSE's still struggling a little bit, but then you got the Nikkei that's just continues to rip higher. I mean, the Nikkei is just damn bonkers right now. So, you want me to take over and I'll show you the charts?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Sometimes
I have to organize.
Yeah, you got so many going on. Just here's the DAX. You can see it right here. We're in an ascending wedge, but we're right up against the highs. So I mean, seeing levels that we haven't seen since 2021, touching new highs, ascending wedge, mega divergence. But just because it's a divergence that you see here, if RSI breaks higher, guess what? That means now that means the index itself is breaking higher, right?
What a beautiful wedge. But it had, let's look at it this way. It's making new all-time highs, but there's no throwovers yet. Yet. But that's a key word.
Right.
So, even though it's at new highs, obviously it doesn't have the same technical strength that NASDAQ and S&Ps have had lately, because we've had throwovers on the wedge. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at the Nikkei. Just absolutely crazy, right? So,
Nick Leeson, take down the bank. What bank did Leeson take down? Nick Leeson?
The
Barings.
Barings, yeah, Barings Bank, and the Queen lost money, right?
Yeah, I think it was a Nikkei trade, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was playing on. Was it Nikkei or JGBs? It was in Japan though. Anyway.
Yeah.
God, I'm gonna go watch the movie. I'll get back to you guys a little bit later.
All right. Go ahead.
I actually have it on my shelf right over here, in DVD form. Damn it. All right. Well, let's. And good morning, everybody. Happy FOMC day. Stelios, good to hear your voice. I think Steve might be around. Steve, are you here? Oh no, he might not be around because he had. So I think, I forget that everybody doesn't live in a place like I do, and he lives in like more of a building in Athens, and he had to have a new refrigerator put in through his balcony, and they had to move all of his stuff.
Oh wow!
I know, you think about that. I'm like, no, just wheel it in my house. I get a new refrigerator, just wheel it in the front door, and not everybody lives that way. So Steve's not going to be here, but he will be around for the FOMC. In the ForexAnalytix community, so just FYI, he won't be here for the F.A.C.E show. Anyway, we do have Grega here. Grega, how are you?
Hey, I'm fine, thanks. Ready for today's action.
Yeah, today's action will be good. Good, I'm glad you're here. So let's, I really want to get today's, obviously everybody's opinions on how they're going to play today, what they're looking at. Just a couple of quick things from me. I just want to just say, the euro still got this bear flag developing. We're hovering right around this 38% retracement, but it's holding up pretty well. The cable is almost up against its highs. I mean, just defying odds here, right? And that's something that, on the week ahead video, I'm like, hey, if we get dollar weakness today, you gotta play into the cable to the long side. As much as people hate it, it's it's there. It's not backing away. Aussie still looks pretty.
Not far from cleaning out the stops there, Blake. We talked about yesterday.
Yep, we're getting close. We're still holding this ascending wedge really well. Let me go ahead and just adjust that a little bit. Yeah, the ascending wedge is still holding up. Dollar CAD is flirting with the 133 level. We keep getting pushed below it. Popped back above yesterday by end of day, but you can see obviously very, very critical range support here.
False breakdown possible. Keep an eye on that.
Potentially, if we get some dollar strength, this dollar yen, you pointed it out, we're above wedge resistance, but if you're a bull, you definitely don't want to see us dip back below 139, because then that's false breakout of a pretty tight consolidation, which usually leads to a reversal. But for right now, it's playing into dollar strength. So this is bull flagging as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a good setup. And the dollar index as a whole is just in a bull flag. I mean, I'm just gonna say it like this, and then we'll go around the horn. You know, there's something for everybody, whether you're a dollar bear or you're a dollar bull. I think there's a good setup for your outcome that you're looking for. Now, whether you get your outcome or not today, following the FOMC, is a whole other question. You know, I think the Fed's not going to really rock the boat a whole lot. I think we are going to get, a pause or a skip, but it's how Powell and company frame the meetings ahead. I think that's going to be key. I do want to point out, just gold is going to be my guide today, above 1985, below 1930. That's going to tell us, which way gold's going, and dollar is going to probably be opposite of that. And obviously you can look at yields, but I did want to bring your attention to Bitcoin. People often overlook Bitcoin because they think that it's just not moving anywhere. But the fact of the matter is Ethereum's coming off. Bitcoin is back at that 25,000 level. It's a key. If you don't remember, 25,000 was the big spike down on the breakdown. It's previous support, resistance, breakout, and we're back at support. If for some reason you see Bitcoin breaking down, you got to be real careful about risk in general. And the thing about Bitcoin is it's just sitting there. It's not like I'm going to trade it, but I am watching it. And that's, I think, is going to be something that is going to be overlooked today. I think that's one of those that you keep it in the back of your mind as you go through today. Anyway, all right, I'm done. I want to hear from you guys what your best setups are. Let's start with Stelios. Stel, how are you?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you.
Good. So what are you seeing besides your desire to take down Barclays Bank? Well, what else are you seeing today?
First of all, let me say that I think the market will move more in the case of a hawkish Fed than a dovish Fed. It's kind of, I think the most pain is going to come if the Fed is hawkish. Now, having said that, I think the most likely scenario is they obviously stay on hold. I don't see really any major chance of them hiking. And, they tell us that they're going to be skipping, but as weeks go by, maybe the skip becomes a permanent pause. But, one day at a time, I think the most damage to the market, or the most violent move, is going to be on a hawkish Fed. So if they are in any way hawkish, two things I'm looking at. One, pains me to say it, but gold, like you said, 1933, 35, those lows are going to get absolutely smashed, I think. And when that happens, or if that happens, we go to 1840 or somewhere around there. So I think that's theoretically should be a relatively easy, I don't want to say the word easy, straightforward trade in terms of a short-term trade reaction to the Fed. The other one, which you pointed out as well, dollar yen, very close to these highs at 140 and change. If the Fed is hawkish, we have broken out of that kind of wedge we're retesting. If they are not dovish, this is most likely just going to keep going higher. So I like that as a trade, on a hawkish Fed. Now, on a dovish Fed, probably dollar CAD shorts, which we talked about yesterday. So we broke down below, that trend line, which had been touched 8 or 9 or however many times. If they're not hawkish, I think any kind of rally on this, or even not even a rally, I think this breakdown is going to have a little bit more legs to the downside. So so those are the three things I'm looking at. And of course, if the Fed is really dovish, I think gold to the upside, 1985 is a big level. We're not quite there yet, but this is big, very big. Yeah. And the other thing, last thing I wanted to say was, cryptos have been underperforming in a big way, and I think they will continue to underperform. So my opinion, if I wanted to be long risk, I wouldn't be long cryptos. Usually it was the case that, NASDAQ goes up or S&P goes up 1%, Bitcoin goes up 3%. Now they're
higher beta play, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you want to be short risk, then probably being short cryptos is preferable for me, at least, because they are underperforming.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Celia. What? Hello?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the reason why the Bitcoin is actually not following that much stocks is because stocks and US dollar recently have been trading both together to the upside. So we have higher US dollar, and obviously that's one of the reasons why cryptos are trading to the downside for the last couple of weeks.
Awesome. Well, Grega, since you are chiming in, what are you looking at today? And I'll pull up your charts over here on the on ForexAnalytix, unless you've got something different that you were looking at that I don't have on the screen.
Well, actually, I'm still looking for weakness on the euro dollar. As you pointed yourself as well, we have this bear flag. So I think that we are in a wave 4 corrective rally on the euro dollar. Euro overall is still very weak. So if we get hawkish Fed, I think that the euro dollar could see more weakness. We have also metals coming to the downside. So I think that this is still the markets that could maybe move quite a lot if dollar will see more upside. On the opposite side of this, I still think that Aussie is doing very well. So regarding dollar weakness, I think that Aussie will continue much higher. I also like how dollar NOK has recently reversed. I'm not sure if you show dollar NOK this week, but we have seen a pretty nice and strong reversal on dollar NOK from start of this month, actually. And this drop so far is looking, yeah, there you go. It's looking quite impulsive to the downside from the recent highs.
I think we're below this trend line right now.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm looking at is also crude oil. Now, crude oil yesterday found some support around $67 per barrel, and it stabilized quite well. So over the last, let's say, few days back, we have seen both dollar NOK and crude oil moving to the downside. But now, when crude oil is trying to stabilize here around $67, I think that more upside on crude oil could potentially accelerate weakness on dollar NOK on the short side. So I'm thinking the dollar NOK could potentially be a very big mover if crude oil holds this support.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Thanks, Grega. I really appreciate that. And again, these are like Grega does the Elliott wave analysis for these 30 instruments. He updates them throughout the course of every 24 hours. He's updating his charts and his views. And so it's great to have you here. And like I said, I think there's something for everybody if there is dollar strength or weakness. And I think today we have to be flexible, right? I mean, that's going to be the key today, is being flexible in our ideas. So thanks, Grega, for your feedback there. I'm sorry, Ryan, Mr. Flow Show, what are you looking at today? What's on your radar? What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I put in the chat room earlier, I can't see any real reason why dollar strengthens meaningfully today, unless there's a shock hike. Even then, I can't see it lasting, because if there is a hike, then we're probably going to get indication of a pause thereafter. So really, any dollar pair, euro dollar, cable, dollar yen, any pair like that you get a dip in is likely a good opportunity for a fade trade on this one. I'm favouring dollar China still, because I think it's the cleanest trading between the Fed and the PBOC and what's going on in China, and the trend in that pair. So that's, yeah, I might have a big net cast wide for this one.
Yeah, I mean, this has been obviously just kind of continuing higher. I think a lot of it has to do with the actions that we've seen and from the PBOC. They're a little. I thought they were going to do what they're doing now. Adjusting their rates a couple of weeks ago, and it seemed like they're a little. In my view, they were a little late to the party, but it doesn't really matter because it's influencing the CNH. But how are you going to play the CNH?
I'll look for any dollar weakness, take that down to sort of 710, 711, 712. That'll be my ideal area. And then look to get in on that dip and see where it goes thereafter. Try and hold on the train and ride it as far as it goes, if it goes.
All right. So you're looking to play it on the long side on any dip?
Yeah, decent.
Which
dip,
is
yeah.
interesting because you just said, now I know the US dollar CNH is different than any other dollar pair, that you said any dollar strength, you know, should find, you know, weakness today. So, but
Oh no, what I meant was a pause from the Fed.
Yeah.
Anything dovish should be weaker dollar. But I want to buy the dip in this one because from the China side will drag the pair higher more so than the dollar side.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thanks. And any other views that you have here before I shift over to K-Man?
Yeah, obviously cable has been pointed out. We've got the Bank of England next week as well. You know, get a decent dip there. K's been highlighting, you know, Guppy a lot. That might be a real decent one. If you get a decent dip in that, you can run that BOJ and BOE. So there's
Yeah,
lots
the
of
Guppy's
out there.
the Guppy's at the 127% extension and at the wedge highs. But man, you know, if we could get that breakout, it would really, you know, accelerate higher. So very good. All right. Well, speaking of K-Man, what are you thinking? Heidi ho.
Euro dollar, I'm not going to touch it right now.
The euro, did you just say?
I said euro dollar, I'm not going to touch it right now, but I'm waiting on the ECB for that one. Yeah, I think well, the dollar yen is mainly driven by the yen process, but I think if they do as expected on the FOMC, we might find some buyers in the dollar yen if we get a move back down to low 139s, just because of those call them carry trades, BOJ trades, Nikkei trades, whatever you want to call them. But I agree with well, I've been saying for how long? Weeks, that I think that the sterling is a better currency. Yeah, I've dipped down somewhere 125.80 or 125.40, low 125s. Should find support in the cable if the dollar comes off further. If the dollar, if the dollar strengthens on a bit of a surprise, I think the cable still will find buyers. The one that if they're hawkish, yeah, it's probably dollar China. I tried dollar rand, but that thing is not working at all. It's really broken now. It's a bit of a strange run, this, but I'm going to leave it alone right now. And I'm quite interested as well. I've let my position go, and I actually while F.A.C.E is going on, I re-entered just a small one to see if the dollar CAD is really a fake below 133. But I really have more in crosses and stuff and dollar China than really the majors, dollar-wise at least. But my view on the FOMC pure dollar-wise is not extreme. I don't think we see any extremes.
And no extremes today. All right. And, you know, look, just to, you know, unless you guys have anything different, we have like PPI coming out in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready for that. But so we're going to get one last look at producer inflation here in just a moment. I just view that the FOMC is going to be basically giving us, you know, what the market wants, which is going to be a pause, and we will see if it's going to be more of a skip or a skip jump or a an actual pivot. So do you guys have any views as far as what you think the Fed is going to do from a policy standpoint? Anybody think there's a hike coming? Anybody? Dale?
Everything can happen.
Everything and anything all at once, right?
Yeah. And Giles isn't going to be here, but
he is not.
No, he had to cancel. I have rescheduled. Okay. But I wanted to offer to anyone listening to us today that for people that sign up today, I'm offering a complimentary Skype session with them, 30 minutes. So after you sign up, just let the team know, and we'll get together on Skype. And it's the wild, wild west. You could ask me anything.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Dale. That's very generous of you to spend your time with one of our listeners. And remember, try out ForexAnalytix. If you sign up today, there's your offer from Dale. That's awesome. And actually get into our chat room too.
Data
So
coming out.
just 2 seconds from
Yes,
now.
inflation data.
Yeah, some producer prices.
Oh, minus 0.3. Core also
Little
0.1.
lower.
So below expectations, even the core as well.
Yeah, and it looks like just another reason for the Fed to stay on hold
Pause.
today, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what
Who said
the
pause?
S&P
Let's talk pivot. Let's talk about let's bring rates back down sub 3%. What do you say about them apples? Then we'll have
No
the S&P
chance.
back at 5,000.
No
Right?
Yeah,
chance.
the metals are popping a lot on this. Yen's caving.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
so
look
much
at
for that
yields are
breakout.
coming off. Look at the dollar coming out. The S&P is coming under a little bit of pressure. Just a little bit more reasons for people to adjust their positions ahead of the Fed. So, some really good action there. So Giles is not going to make it in today, which is a shame. I like Giles. He's good to have around and get his views. But the good news is, Dale, I didn't get to get your views. So what are you thinking for today for the market?
Well, we're getting the continuation move in dollar weakness. I shorted euro yesterday. I still have some on. It's really not hurting me. But this
I'm
102,
with you. I'm with you.
This 102.50 level was somewhat important, but the big line in the sand is 102. I'm viewing dollar weakness as a buying opportunity still, and we're on the verge of taking out the stops in Aussie. Grega, are you still here? I don't know if he is or not.
Yes,
Anyway, all right. Well,
I'm
that's what I was waiting for. Maybe like 68.5. And to complete this wave, and even Aussie might be a good short after we take out all the shorts, which we're about to do here.
Well, Aussie is clearly at some important resistance here when you look actually back from swing highs from the last few months. I mean,
Yeah.
April, May, these were
Yeah.
very strong levels up here.
Yeah, and I was pointing out the other day, as you know, we get above the 200-day moving average, it gets swatted down shortly thereafter. And matter of fact, since Giles isn't here, Grega, if you're in front of your desk, you want to take over and show some of your current Elliott wave counts on the markets?
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
All right. Well, hey, you guys are in for a special treat today. A little bit of special K. Yeah. Dale, why don't you go ahead and guide Grega through some what you guys are talking about?
Okay, Greg.
Yeah. Okay.
You have the screen?
Yeah. Can you see the screen? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So if we take a look at okay. So actually, as you said, Aussie could be moving into this resistance, but in my opinion, it's a pretty strong recovery here. So I think that's an impulse that will take us eventually even higher. But of course, I don't want to buy here. I just will wait on any kind of a pullback for the 38.2% of this leg would be my minimum objective for the first support. But looking at the bigger picture, I think that we could actually attack much higher levels later this year, because this first recovery here from October lows has unfolded as a 5-wave movement, and that was a counter trend rally in 3 waves. So we bounced from this FIPS 61, 78.6%, and you can see a very nice broken trend line. So I think more upside eventually will come, but as I said, maybe after the pullback. Also, earlier, since I mentioned dollar NOK, when we discussed with Blake, that's the wave count I'm watching. So we have 5 waves up, potentially now trying to break this trend line. And the most important is, as I said earlier, is crude oil. So I have this one on my radar screen for potential shorts. So here you can see the correlation between crude oil and dollar NOK. You can see that both moved to the downside together since from last week, actually, for the last week or so, yes. And you can see that in blue, which is dollar NOK, keeps moving lower after crude oil found the potential support. And I think that the crude oil, as I will show you on the next charts, is potentially going to see more upside. So in my opinion, dollar NOK will just continue with the current weakness. and even potentially accelerate. So this comes, as I said, crude oil support and dollar NOK also forming this very nice reversal after failure break here above 11. Okay, so we clearly expect more weakness here. And if I look now on the crude oil, you can
Who's we?
Me and you.
I know, I catch my we and who's we?
We Elliott wave.
But I'm a Gemini. I'm a Gemini, man. So I could. There's a few of me. So
here,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Here on crude oil, I mean, we got this. It was a very tough ride here. We had plenty of these failure breaks to the upside, to the downside. But now I can count 5 waves up, 5 waves sideways within this range. So it can be actually expanding triangle. And so far we have a very nice recovery from the start of the year. We know that these cuts by OPEC are trying to stabilize the prices. So I'm still thinking that crude oil could potentially trade much higher, maybe during summer. And looking at this chart, maybe this trend line, if today is broken, if we'll see dollar weakness and crude oil will just keep moving higher or just even stay sideways at these levels, I think that more upside later this week could be seen, and potentially this could bring dollar NOK much lower.
And $80 at the completion at your C up there is not going to make it easier for the Fed to stay on pause, is it?
Yeah,
because gasoline prices really haven't dropped much here during the decline in WTI.
Yeah, and
so
I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are some of commodities like sugar, like cocoa, that are showing some very, very nice and strong support. So yeah, I'm not sure how this.
Even the wheat sisters, have you looked at the grains?
Yeah, I didn't look.
Because they've been obliterated over the last 6 months since the invasion, and they all look like they have bottoming patterns to me.
Yeah, so we know what it means for the inflation, right? So
yeah,
but looking here, I mean, on bigger picture on crude oil, I think that this will be just a corrective stage. But of course, their crude oil, as we know, is very, very volatile for the last few years. So we could even see a move towards $90 before we potentially see a new leg to the downside.
And at 94 is when the U.S. will begin to refill their strategic petroleum reserve.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm listening to. Hey guys, I was gonna say really quick, as far as there's some questions that came in. Michael said, I remember what Danielle DiMartino Booth saying, Powell, make sure he gets the job done, and for that reason, I think we could get a hike today. I don't think you can really disregard that. I think that there is a risk that does happen. So, anyway.
There were plenty of central banks that hiked. So, over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and if he was targeting the wealth effect, look at all the wealth that's come back into people's portfolios over the last 6 months. Some of these moves have been tremendous, huge moves.
It has been, so that he's got a little bit more flexibility, but also one of the other things is this move that we're seeing in equities is also it is loosening financial conditions, from a sentiment standpoint, and he doesn't really want to see that. I don't think he
wouldn't like this count.
He wouldn't like that count, right? Of the S&P, that would not. That's going against the grain of what he's trying to do, because the inflation genie has not been put back in the bottle. It's kind of like you think of like Aladdin, right? The inflation genie, and you think of like he's almost in, but his damn foot is still outside of the neck of the bottle, right? And
that's because I ripped off his flying carpet.
There you go. Anyway, so I don't know. I think, ignoring the Fed today and just saying, they job's done, we're going to pause and this is it. We're going to see what happens, and Fed's going to is in that mode. I don't know, man. They could still be pretty hawkish even if they don't hike today. Watch the dot plots. That's going to be important. So anyway, just needed to throw that out there.
Is this Grega's count?
Grega, what are you seeing here with the S&P?
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly a very strong break here above that highs back from August of last year. And I think that, yes, there is room for much more gains here, but I think that there will be pullback. I mean, everyone was buying stocks apparently going into the Fed. So maybe even if Fed will stay on hold, it can be buy the rumor, sell the news impact. I don't know. Even if there will be hawkish, it will be even more aggressive reversal lower. So I still think that there will be some pullbacks in the next week or two. And
yeah, you know what? Can you answer Gordon's question? Because I've heard this from a few other traders. Could this still be instead of new highs coming, an expanded flat?
The whole structure here from December. Yes, this could be wave A, and this could be a wave B rally, if that's what Gordon talks about. Yeah. So yes, definitely there can be limited upside. But notice why I'm expecting or some
Look,
pullback.
the VIX.
Yeah, exactly. So it's still, I mean, looks like that market is too confident regarding potential more gains from here. But you know, that's the sentiment. We have to respect the current price still. It's on the rise. And it's not only the S&P. If you look here, obviously on NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Here's NASDAQ. Looks like that we are in the middle of a higher degree wave 3, but still 161.8% resistance is not far away. So that's why I'm saying that some kind of a pullback could be seen. Also, we are seeing current flows very strong in a risk-on environment since Monday, since the open. Okay.
Yeah.
So of the week. So actually, statistically, there is less chance that we will continue straight to the upside into the end of the week. Probably we will see some new swings going on in the middle of the week. And if now these flows will change, now it's a perfect time today.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
So someone said we did have an interview today.
We did. With a lot of us.
We did. And it's so great. So nice to have you here, Grega. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I was also I would also like to look at these cryptos that and the recent events. So as we know, there were a lot of flows from Binance exchanges because all of those issues and unregistered brokers and so on. But keep in mind that whenever there is a transfer from coins from exchanges to private wallets, that's actually positive for Bitcoin because it means that private investors will hold their Bitcoin on their private wallets rather than on exchanges where is greater chance that they will sell it or exchange it for something else. Yeah. So it means that they are now holding their Bitcoins safely on their private. Yeah. So actually,
great insight.
We have seen here this going on obviously now for this for the last week, but we have seen the same situation here back in March. We have also seen similar situation here in December and November. So I think that this may not be that bearish as it sounds. Keep in mind that also in the downtrending market, there will be a lot of pessimism, a lot of bad news. But usually when this sentiment moves into the extreme, the opposite unexpected occurs, and that's when we can see huge volatility. But of course, as said earlier to Stelios, we have to see dollar coming down for cryptos to recover because obviously from the dollar a lot will depend.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. What do you think, Blake?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just so excited that we had Grega here today to give you his views. This is not normal. Not that we wouldn't love to have Grega here every day. But it's a really nice treat to have you here, Grega. So thank you for your view. And I just want to say good luck, everybody. Remember, we're going to be on the morning edge here in about 30 minutes with the ForexAnalytix crew. Then we're going to have the daily roundup in a couple hours just before the Fed. It's a great time to be inside of the ForexAnalytix community. Remember, it's only $1 to try it out. Then you can be in the chat rooms through the Fed because that's where I'm going to be. And Ryan and K-Man will be there. Well, you'll see full coverage in our chat rooms. If you don't know what our chat rooms look like, let me just go ahead and Grega pops in. Usually a couple times a week we see him there, but this is kind of what you could view inside of the chat room if you guys want to see. This is like the heartbeat of what we're doing. And you know, between here, you know, we got the S&P chat room is really quite busy. We have, you know, obviously the Flowonomics, the macroeconomics room where K-Man and Ryan.
Where's Paulie? Is that where Paulie hangs out?
Paulie hangs out in the
Yes.
S&P chat room. You can see here's, some of his charts that he posts and, so really, really active chat room there. So make sure you check it out. It's a great place to be inside of a community where you can talk to other traders. And one way to get inclusion into that is check out the trader funding program. And when you take an assessment, you're automatically included into the ForexAnalytix community for a period of time. So check that out too. That's it.
Okay, best team on the net. I rest my case. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Be in the room with the guys for the Fed. And team, thanks very much. Grega, thanks for dropping in, Wizard.
Thank you. My
And-
pleasure.
Yeah, Grega, great to have you here.
And we'll see everyone tomorrow. And now, you know what? The market will be here tomorrow if you don't do anything. So you don't have to trade. Don't feel the pressure. I have to do something with the Fed. So the market will be here. Make sure your equity is. And I'll see everyone tomorrow. We will see everyone tomorrow. And it feels like tomorrow should be Friday. Adios, everyone.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Okay, Blake. Don't forget, join the team. 24 minutes. Adios.